Black Swan really is and really was, as I just got done watching it, that fucking amazing, that fucking good, that feel good shit. Like, again, just watch something new to me. I had 15 years to watch it. I finally deaded that 15-year streak, dry streak of not knowing what the fuck this was about to begin with. Now I know. Now I know why Natalie Portman won the Best Actress Oscar as a result of this movie. Now I know why I kind of gravitate towards the Darren Aronofsky world of film with what he's done. Because, again, this is ballet shit. I thought it would have been like, well, how hard is it to be a ballet dancer prepping for, like, the role of their life that could be career defining, that's in their mind meant for them, but those that would cast said person in the role of their lifetime doesn't see them as being able to carry out the role because it's a dual part. So there's basically I'm uncultured when it comes to ballet and opera and all that shit, so forgive me for not really knowing like that the whole complexity of Swan Lake, the duality of Swan Lake. But basically there is the Black Swan, the White Swan. They're the same person. Well, the same person. Natalie Portman is supposed to play the role of both. She wants it, but she primarily might not get it because the casting guy, Thomas, of course, always a Frenchman. But shout out to the baguettes. No, I love the baguettes and the croissants. Croissants are like the major players, the ones that everybody gravitates to, but you got to appreciate a well-cooked, well-made baguette because, believe me, I try making some. Still can't get it quite right, and the shit be sticking to the tray. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. I need to get some parchment paper. But besides all that shit, right? Thomas, the casting guy, wants to do a whole new version of Swan Lake, a modern day, more sexy, seductive, alluring, bring people back. Because the old one we had playing the Queen Swan, what's her name? Let's remind her, I had a crush on her forever too. Oh yes, another memorable brunette. Iconic brunette, a beautiful brunette still, even in this movie, of course, it's 2010, why not? Winona Ryder, she's being eased out of her role as the Queen Swan, and it's up for grabs now. The role of Queen Swan is going to play, this time, both White Swan, Black Swan. Swan Lake's about a swan that finds, it's a girl that gets turned into a swan, and she can only break the curse by finding true love. Her evil twin, the Black Swan, makes the guy that she really loves fall in love with her, the Black Swan. So the White Swan is so stressed and pressed about it that she kills herself because, again, she will never find that true love, apparently. Something like that. I don't know ballet, opera, or Swan Lake like that, so forgive me in advance for not knowing like that. I'm a guy. My dick hangs low. That's about as much as I could relate to a goose with a long-ass neck. Or a swan. Swan, because I know swans ain't gooses. I don't know, but still, all I know is I love this fucking movie. But again, my incentive back then would have been Mila Kunis, Natalie Portman, getting on at some point in the movie. And to all the bros out there, the ones who really care about the important stuff, especially in this movie, I kid, of course. At 1 hour and 8 minutes is where you get to see both of them come face to face, tongue to tongue, clit to clit, rubbing and eating and all this hot lesbian action, pretty much. In a psychological horror movie, which this has been defined and categorized as, and I see it, because there's jump scares, there's legit moments of, like, freak out and panic that Natalie Portman's going through because the stress and the agony of her being groomed into becoming a ballerina, apparently, because her mom had her at a young age, gave up on her own career and dreams and aspirations of becoming a ballerina to raise her. But it's one of those old stories like, okay, well, I couldn't live it out, so I'm going to live it out through my child as far as the dream career and or the fantasy career lifestyle I would have wanted. They're going to do it for me, so in that way I can at least embody it through them, kind of thing, right? So she gets the part only after having to throw herself at the feet of the casting guy, Thomas, right? It's her dream, but it's really her mom's dream, and the mom's just as excited for her when she gets the role of, Queen Swan, right? It's a really good part when that comes up because she's portrayed as meek, mama's girl. She's, I guess, made to look like she's in the 20s or something close to that at least. Her room is fully decorated from like ceiling to walls and floor practically in all pink, very girly, very just, pretend teacup parties and Barbie doll dressing up is like the highlight of her day kind of thing. Like that kind of overgrown girl living in a tiny little, girl world. In her mind at least, or according to her mom, so that she could be her good little girl always, right? But she's at the feet, at the disposition of this Tomas guy who's going to be the one that actually casts or picks the next Queen Swan. He knows that she can't do it, or at least she can carry out the role of the White Swan, the purity, but she has nothing in her that would, merit her being the Black Swan, the sexy, alluring, seductress, whatever part. It's not in her, and it really isn't. But he forces for it to come out of her when she's like, okay, well, if I can't do it, and if you say so, then I'll just forget it. It's okay. I guess I wanted it, but I didn't earn it, kind of thing. He stops her at the door, closes the door in the face, like, well, aren't you even going to fight for it? Aren't you going to even argue, at least in the slightest bit? This is why you're a pushover. This is why no one takes you serious. This is why you'll never get what you want out of life, because you're a pussy and a pushover and a stand, a fake, a phony, all that shit. And then pulls her in for a kiss. The deep ass kiss, like so much of her face is in his mouth. That's how deep the kiss is, that she does end up at least fucking biting his tongue. And he likes that. So it seems like it was either a test and or his way of getting that little bit of, not so much darkness, but at least that little bit of character out of her, because she's really meek, really weak, really okay, please, I'm sorry, thank you so much I'm sorry for existing kind of thing. Gets it out of her finally, some little, literally, bite, no pun intended. So it seems like he might have already casted her as the Queen Swan, because she really is technically the best one out of all of them, but she's just so rigid and stick up her ass with being perfect about sticking to moves and landing the routine and shit. Then he wants to see if she has more to her than that, than perfect moves and just being able to be, no pun intended, loosey goosey with the fucking part that he's more concerned about being brought to life, which is the Black Swan. She's able to do that. She does get casted. He had told her that, I gave it to this one girl, Veronica, and when she leaves, initially defeated, thinking that she wasn't going to get it, and he's like, I gave it to her anyway, so just fucking leave, even though thanks for the fucking tongue action. She does say to Veronica in passing, congrats, whatever, when it's time to pick the fucking Queen Swan. Veronica gets mad at her. He's like, you stupid fucking bitch, how could you? You're fucking mean like that. I didn't know you were a cunt, on the down low like that. But it turns out she was casted anyway. That's the part I'm a little, I would think it was just a casting director playing, dickhead. Just wanted to see if she'd really be about that life, if she'd really be able to at least fight back if he forced himself on her, because apparently the mom actually clarifies that I know he has a past as far as doing that to his lead girls, his little princesses, as he likes to call them throughout the thing. And I'm sure besides ballet, which is the example at hand right now in the movie, of course, that does exist, where it's not so much about your talent and or how good you are, or how much you show up and everything. Well, that counts too, but primarily it's how much are you favored by the person that can make the difference. In this case, Tomas, the director, the one's going to cast the Queen Swan. So I'm sure that exists, unfortunately, in the ballet world, where, it, not to say the guys don't either, but I'm sure the girls, the women that participate in it and make it their whole life and or their journey as far as getting something like a Swan Lake or whatever else is prominent like that in the world of ballet, I'm sure they stress themselves out to the point where they don't eat, they work out and or dance and practice all day long for the sake of, I need this, I want this that bad, but then also, how good can I look, or how much does the casting director want to fuck me, kind of thing, right? To get the role you want. And it's not like she wants to commit to any of it. She's just caught up in that shit, but also again brought up by her mother to be that which her mother couldn't do herself, as far as I guess frustration at it, having to have a kid, having to raise the kid, and setting aside the career she wanted. So again, she's gonna live it through her daughter. So is it really her merits or her mother's merits that she's actually carrying out on behalf of her mother, so her mother can pat herself on the back? It's all right, I raised one that I easily could have been, had I been able to fill in the shoes without having a baby to raise and shit in the Upper West Side or wherever the fuck they were in Manhattan. Some pretty swanky looking area. 100 something. So yeah, might have been the Upper West Side or East Side. I'm one of those. I'm born and raised in Queens. I love Manhattan, but I love everything from like right before Times Square's down. So I like staying literally downtown. He's really demanding of her when he does eventually give it a role. Practice after practice. There's a part where she's like practicing at home, like whatever you call the thing where they twirl on their fucking one big toe and keep twirling, where it seems like their whole body's balancing on that toe, specifically the toenail. And for all you like body horror, body shock enthusiasts, this might be right up your alley. This is one of those few times I got grossed out or creeped out by a movie like that, by seeing that kind of I can handle gore, I can handle blood, no problem. But the image of her bouncing on her toe and hearing a random crack, I thought, ah shit, she sprained her ankle like fucking 20 minutes into the movie, what the fuck kind of thing. Nah, she split her big toenail down the middle. That's what cracked. I can never imagine a toenail cracking like that, but I did randomly one day walking back home. I still don't know how this happened, but I guess I was walking too fast for my own good. That is such a thing. Where, those like those poles they use for the stop signs and or like random street signs on the street. Somebody had like apparently cut it down, but instead of like uprooting it, since it's in cement, I kind of get why they couldn't do it like that unless they like chiseled away the cement all around it just to take that little fucking stem of metal out. In this case, I wish they would have, because they shaved it down or cut it down where it was almost to the ground, but still above the ground, like right above where your toes would be. And as I'm walking, it was in Corona actually. I'm walking fast, and I guess maybe it just coincided with the way my right foot was going into said little stem of a pole, and I kicked the shit out of it with no intent. I wasn't trying to kick rocks and nothing like that. I was just literally walking. My right toe nail goes all the way into that thing. I banged the shit out of it. I'm limping all the way home afterwards, like half a mile, something like that, just to fucking finally peel off my fucking sneaker, which got stuck to my toe. The sock I had on had to be cut off, and I look at my toes completely destroyed. Like, I don't know how you shatter a nail like glass, but it crackled, split, not down the middle like in the fucking movie. That was gross enough. But it looked like I got shot in the toenail, because it even got to the point where it got loosened enough where I had to just take the whole toenail off. And oh shit. I never vomited at the sight of blood. I never been like, one to freak out like that. But as seeing what was left of my toenail getting peeled off of my toe, it was grotesque enough where I was getting nauseous and kind of like queasy and shit. I thought, oh God, this thing's never going to grow back properly. Something like that. But yeah, that took months for that shit to grow right back. And there was pain in removing the nail. There was pain in the nail growing back in very slowly at its own fucking snail pace. A turtle actually has some speed to it in comparison to a snail's pace. It finally grew back, and then it grew back normal at least, just to get fucking athlete's foot again. That's between you and me though. Don't tell nobody out there. Which I'm sure athlete's foot is something the ballet dancers might be the worst dream if it comes true, but I wonder how they manage it. If they got like chiropractors and doctors like available there to like, reset your joints and crack your hips and bones and shit. I'm sure they got somebody that can handle that too. Be like, I rub this cream, keep it dry, whatever, Believe me, athletes' foot, athletes' nails and fungus and shit, all that sucks. It's so fucking annoying. So for more of the body horror enthusiasts out there, there is a couple of parts throughout. More specifically, there's one where after she's been selected to be Queen Swan, after practicing a couple of times, Tomas has to bring her out to like I don't know exactly what it was called, but like a fancy schmancy ass pants kind of gala gathering of rich folks, I guess, that contribute or offer their patronage to wherever they're doing the ballet shit from, to announce that she is the new Queen Swan, and it's out with the old pig, in with the new piglet, type of energy of like, oh, here's Beth, Winona Ryder, who used to be our Queen Swan, but she's too fucking old, people. All you rich folks. You can relate to being old, but at least you're fucking filthy rich. But she's too old to even do what she's been doing her whole life, which is fucking dance on her toes for an adoring public. So out with her old ass. And then with this new, fresh, wet behind the ears, still fucking innocent little beautiful piglet. Look how pink she is. Look how fucking flappy her ears. You fucking pull her tail, she oinks. Oink! Oink, piggy, oink. On display like that, right? Winona Ryder's offended because he is like bigging her up and giving like basically shout outs to fucking Beth, who used to do a fucking thing, but she got too old and her pussy stinks, whatever. So people didn't complain about that as they kind of shoo her away. And now it's Nina and or Natalie Portman's turn to take center stage in that sense of being announced as the Queen Swan. She goes into the bathroom at some point because she notices like her middle finger's bleeding around the nail, which between you and me, I kind of do that too. I bite down to the fucking stem of the nail almost and start bleeding randomly. Or one of those kind of people where they pick at their nails, their fingers, like as a bad like habit or tick, whatever you want to call it. She's got that going on. And she keeps picking at it to the point where she rips like a little bit of flesh right around the cuticle, like almost up to a knuckle of her middle finger, excuse me. And it's like, that would be my worst nightmare for me, picking my fingers like that. But thank God it's never happened. I'd be in a hospital if I fucking did that shit. But apparently it was in her head. Like it is most of the time when she sees the random scratches on the back. Although the mom says too, like, oh, you've been scratching yourself again at some point, and like drags her into the bathroom, just start clipping her nails away, short enough where she can't use them to scratch herself, which I never seen anyone use scissors. That might be a beauty salon thing or more of an aesthetic thing, but I've always used clippers. I'm one of those. I guess I'm old school like that, or just a brute like that. Who knows? But there's that going on. There's a part where she transforms towards the end. In her mind, again, in her mind. She's doing it to herself. She's sabotaging herself. She's her own worst enemy. She's turned into the Black Swan that she's so desperate to tap into, to channel, to become. At that point, I did get scared, I'll be honest. Because I thought, oh shit. Now they just turned this fucking movie, which was kind of like great and had me on my kind of toes like that. No pun intended, on my toes like that, watching to see what happens next. Now it's going to turn to a fucking green screen, literally the Black Swan and shit. She terrorizes the opera audience. It starts pecking and eating away at people like that are flying over them and shitting on them like a swan probably would. I hope I never get shit on by a swan, just like flying by, if they can even fly that high above me and then like just on top of my head. I'm an easy target. They might think I'm an egg. With my bald ass head might sit on me halfway through, realize I ain't shit but a fucking asshole walking amongst them, and then just take off, flap off, and just greet me with a, I don't know, like a barrel full of shit on my head randomly. I don't know. But I thought maybe it was going to turn into that, because again, I never watched this. This is the first time I'm sitting down to watch this shit since its release back in 2010. Again, I failed the test as far as like being, you know what? Natalie Portman, who I've had a crush on since forever. Mila Kunis, who's another piece of ass, respectfully. And I had no idea Winona Ryder was in it too. And it's a lot of girls in skimpy, tight clothing, dancing all around, throwing their legs up in the air, even though it's ballet. This should be incentive enough for me to want to watch, but I just didn't get around to it. Or maybe I'll just like, I don't know, go out with a girl. She randomly has a copy on DVD and be like, it'll be that late at night. I really don't want to go home. Just like, pop that Black Swan shit in. Let's see what this is about kind of thing eventually. But yeah, this is like something so memorable, something I'm so fond of now after having watched it, because then again, there's so much shit in it too. It's like, how do they make a ballet dancer wanting the role of her lifetime, the role that would make her or break her, as it did in the movie? How do they make that something relatable? How do they make that something imperiling, despairing, dramatic, scary? Again, legit scary. There was some good jump scares in this fucking thing throughout, like just cutaways. Randomly, someone's right there. She's seeing herself in other people. She's seeing herself randomly throughout the fucking thing, which is, you know, leading to her being her own worst enemy, sabotaging herself because she's like stressing and freaking out so much about being both parts and trying to keep herself motivated enough to do it, and keeping the guy that doesn't believe in her necessarily to be able to carry out the part, convince him enough to shut up and just let her do a thing kind of thing. It all leads up to fucking this finale. But before we get to that too, the movie's a bit sexy too. So, maybe it'd be good for a date where you might fake the girl into thinking he's deep like that. He likes movies about fucking ballet dramas and shit, right? But then it's steamy, it's sexy, it's passionate, a lot of groping, a lot of kissing. At one point when they're practicing, Nina and the lead guy that's going to be the prince for her in the fucking thing, what's his name? Tomas. He asked the guy, okay, the way she's carrying about, the way she's portraying herself right now, would you fuck this girl right now? And he's like, nah, I wouldn't, even though, come on, fucking lies. Natalie Portman in 2010, even if she lost, 20 pounds or something like that for the role, as I read at some point, still, it's Natalie Portman. Come on, what are you thinking? But we get it. The intent is she's so meek and innocent and fragile and so lost into being the white swan, unintentionally, who would want to fuck her? That's Tomas's point. So everybody leaves. He's like, okay, I'm stepping in as the prince. You're going to practice with me. And he wants her to be the Black Swan. So at this point, it's his free hall pass as the guy that's like, I picked you. I could also pick your understudy, your double, to go on instead of you to be both white and Black Swan. Waiting in the shadows, Lily, Mila Kunis, they start dancing together. And he is groping her. He's got his hand in between her legs, again, kissing her so fucking deeply and passionately that he's pretty much checking her throat with his tongue directly. It's so deep down there. Grabbing the titties, squishing them things, and then puts his hand between her legs. And it's almost like he went in so deep between her legs, he snatched her up like a fucking bowling ball bag. It was like that deep inside. She's so tiny and meek, like grabbed her, lifted her up and shit by the hole, basically, right? And he says to her, that's the art of seduction. That's what you should be doing. That's your responsibility as a Black Swan, basically. So teaching her how to be a seductress, the part that he needs her to really carry out, flesh out, literally, as a Black Swan. And after the fucking gala, she does run both into Beth afterwards, who's drunk and mad at her, pretty much saying, oh, you fucking little whore, you fucked him, didn't you? You sucked his cock or something like that. She's, of course, denying it. She didn't do anything like that. But they do end up going back to his place to get her afterwards. And he says to her, I got some homework for you to do. I need you to start touching yourself. I need you to start touching yourself and live a little bit, because she's so uptight, she's so high-strung, she's so just mommy's perfect little girl who happens to be a ballerina, who happens to be carrying out the dream career that her mom wanted, had she not had a baby named Nina, and had to raise her, so I might as well raise her to be a fucking ballerina, what I wanted to be all along, kind of thing, right? And she takes his advice to heart, because the next morning when she wakes up, she's all alone in her room, the pink walls, the pink ceiling, Nicki Minaj's fucking dream bedroom, basically, with the Barbies and the dolls all in tutus and ballerina outfits and shit, and reaches down in between her legs and starts fingering herself, flicking that own clit, or whatever she's doing down there. I don't know. It looks like she barely touched herself. Maybe she fully inserted with 1-2 fingers. Who knows? But she's finally enjoying it so much and getting into it that she turns herself over and starts riding one of her own fingers, either the middle or the index. I don't know exactly, but it's fucking hot to watch. I'm sorry it is. As a man, I'm guilty. It was very hot to watch. Thank goodness I was alone, too. With my clothes on, not touching myself. I swear to God, I was making notes throughout. I was doing it for the sake of research, literally, as they say always. But legit, I was doing it that way. Till she turns around and notices, oh shit, my mom's in the fucking room. Because mom was worried about her all night. Trying to prevent her from scratching herself more or cutting her nails too deep and shit, and freaks out. It's just a lot of those little sudden, like, pan away moments, cutaway moments. It's like, oh shit, like, that caught me out of nowhere too, basically, when that happened. The other great part about this movie is that throughout, you're made to believe that besides her stressing out and or worrying herself and stressing herself out about having this lead swan role, both the white and black swan for one person, is that Lily, Mila Kunis, is out to get her, sabotage her. She's the bad girl. She comes in late all the time, but she's so good that she doesn't fucking care. She can't be told anything anyway. She'll just deliver at the end anyways. You know, she's the one that smokes, that does the drugs, that curses, that fucking has the big tattoo on her back that we can't really, or at least I didn't notice it later on, can't clearly see that it's a set of wings, presumably what I guess swan wings will look like on her. Nina's threatened by her because she is like so free-willed and doing whatever she wants, but she happens to be that good that she could easily replace her at any given time because they're like the same size, they kind of look the same and shit. Although it's up for debate who'd be prettier if you had to ask me with a gun to my head per se. I don't know if I could pick. I mean, Natalie Portman's been around so much longer than Mila Kunis, obviously because she's older, long career. But Mila Kunis, or Kunis, whatever, is very pretty too. I mean, so much so that Ashton Kutcher snatched her up, even though after having worked together, however long ago that was in that 70s show, and after being married to Demi Moore. Yeah, I'm sidetracking, I know, but damn. They could pass for sisters, I guess. Maybe like cousins, I guess, more so, because they look alike, but not alike, if you know what I mean. It'd be a hard toss-up. Mila looks like she might have a fuller body. Natalie Portman, too. She's looked great in other things, but she's like, I think, barely 5 feet tall. I don't know how tall Mila Kunis is. I don't know if I could pick, honestly. I'd be happy with either one. I'd be happy to fucking take anything. I mean, look at me. I'm a bald asshole. But enough about me, though, and my preferences like that. Lily being the bad girl makes sense. She does have the makings, the lookings of a bad girl, per se. The counterpart to Nina. Obviously wants to roll. Why wouldn't she? Being an understudy. Why the fuck not, right? Ready to fucking jump at a moment's notice if Nina can't pull through. Which at some point it looks like she can't. But she's there, she's ready, she's armed and ready. Nina knows this and she's stressing out about the role already, but knowing that Lily's like right there, ready to snatch it from her if need be, right? At some point, I forget how exactly it goes, but Lily has to apologize to Nina about, oh yeah, right. Nina was caught crying by Lily about, I guess, just the stress and the agony of the role, but it was really after Tomas had been like feeling her up and like grabbed her from in between the fucking legs and lifted her up like Hulk Hogan does anybody over his fucking head. And Lily took it as she's just really being stressed out, what she was. But she was like, the role, the toll and the gravity of the role was too much for her. So she talked to Tomas, and then Tomas the next day during practice says, well, you're a little fucking whiny bitch, aren't you, anyway, right? Kind of thing. What are you good for, kind of thing. So she took it upon herself to go to fucking Lily and be like, how could you bitch? Why you fucking yapping and chatting like that? I didn't give you consent to do so. Lily finds out where she lives afterwards from the office, goes to her fucking house, even though her mom's there, and says, hey, let me take you out for drinks, for dinner, make it up to you like that. Which now it seems like it was a plan to sabotage Nina, which could be interpreted that way easily. I totally get that too, if that's the way you're thinking also. They go out for drinks. Lily does have some ecstasy capsules that she offers to Nina, but Nina's the good girl, so she never would. She'd never fucking do it whatsoever. But she does convince her to stay at least longer to drink. They meet up with some guys. Shout out to Sebastian Stan, excuse me. A good dude. I like his acting, and pause. He's a good looking guy, so yeah. Back in 2010, imagine that Sebastian Stan popping up randomly in the movie. So shout out to him or the Winter Soldier. They meet up with those guys. They're hanging out more. Lily, slips something in the drink. Roofies her shit. So that Nina's caught up in the fucking whirlwind of like random bathrooms, making out with random guys, walking out of said bathrooms, wants to leave, gets into a cab, does leave, but Lily follows right behind her. They get into the back of the cab together. And Lily, being the bad girl, doing bad girl things, of course, she might be in a girl, she might be bi, who the fuck knows? But she starts reaching in between Nina's legs, starts fingering her in the back of the cab. So that was a good fucking eyeful for the cab driver. Good on him, lucky him. Nina's kind of into it, but then she takes a hand out from between the legs. But they end up going home anyway. Surprisingly, even though the mom is fucking so strict, they end up going home anyways. Takes her back to the bedroom. Makes fun of her mom for being such a, stick in the mud and being like, yeah, I did drink. Oh, what did I do with them? The guys they were hanging out with and shit. Drags her back into the room. Her, Lily and Nina start getting it on. Again, hot lesbian action, as I mentioned already, and I'll give you the timestamp again in the movie if you choose to watch it as a bro. 1 hour and 8 minutes if you want to jump to that. I don't blame you if you do, but yeah, that's incentive for you right there to watch. They go at it. There's no nudity. The most we get to see is like through a see-through shirt on Natalie Portman. That's about it. But she's so skinny too and frail, like you can't really appreciate it per se, but still hot. At least with Mila Kunis as her immediate lesbian counterpart. They're going at it. Fucking Mila goes down on her. Fucking starts eating her out. And so it's where you start to figure this has got to be in a fucking head, because it's crazy enough to pull somebody into your room to fuck them with the intent of fucking them, with a parent visibly being able to see that as you drag him into the room. The tattoo on her back as she's eating Nina out starts transforming and molten and turning into things and shit. Coming alive, basically. She starts seeing herself in Lily. She's like freaking out. She blacks out. But apparently doing in her mind, because the next day when she confronts her about it, like, oh, you ate me out and fucking didn't even leave me a calling card or even, kiss me on the head, good morning, as you left out the fucking bedroom door kind of thing. She's like, what are you talking about? We didn't do any of that. Unless you're talking about the guy you fucked, which apparently she might have either fucked somebody and just blacked out like that, didn't remember, or she just got back home, blackout, drunk, got dropped off in a room by Lily, and then nothing happened because Lily, swears nothing happened. Instead accuses her of just having a fucking hot, wet lesbian dream about her being eaten out by Lily. So it's a lot of little twists and turns in the fucking movie. From there, it just like the visions of what's real being. So from there, for Nina, at least, it starts becoming like, what's reality, what's real, or what's in my fucking head, basically. Because, again, she's panicking about the night of the show coming up. She's stressed out about being good enough to be both white and Black Swan. She's worrying about Lily, bubbling under the surface, ready to take her fucking role from her when the time is right, basically. So all these threats coming at her from different angles, paranoia, everything going on in her fucking mind. But again, she's her own worst enemy. Then it comes time, showtime. Then it comes time to do the show itself. It's the performance she's been waiting to put on. Of course, she's doing good as the White Swan. At some point, she gets lifted up by the guy that's playing the prince. She's hearing voices. She's hearing laughter, seeing weird faces amongst her, amongst the other dancers. And she falls after being lifted up by the guy. So, of course, Tomas is freaking out because the night of the performance, the show itself, she falls. And she lands on her fucking knee or thigh, whatever the fuck it is. He's freaking out on her. She doesn't know what to do. She goes back to her room. This is, again, where it starts to get like, what the fuck is happening? Because, like, in her room, in her mind at least, she thought she was transforming into the Black Swan. Literally, her legs bent backwards like a swan would be. I guess what a swan would look like. She saw seeing her toes getting webbed together like a swan would. So she's like so committed to the bit, but obsessed with it to the point where she thinks she has to be a Black Swan. She might as well be a swan and get a swan conversion operation to become the Black Swan that's needed of her to carry out both roles, because she can fill out the White Swan just fine, but she wants to do both and be the Black Swan too, that she knows maybe she can be underneath it all, but she's trying to really see what fucking locks in to make commit to being a Black Swan. Because The whole company depends on her. Tomas depends on her. Her mother depends on her, basically, being the Black Swan and the White Swan, of course. She finds out that Lily is her alternative. She starts freaking out about it and panicking that immediately, like, I'm going to get sabotaged. She's going to try to do something to me so that I can fucking lose the starring role and she can take over and be Queen Swan for me instead. She's practicing until late at night one time and the lights go off. She tries to see who turned the fucking lights off, but then she sees Lily and Tomas in the back fucking. But then Lily turns into her doppelganger, and then Tomas turns into like the demon thing that they're trying to envision that wants to seduce, I think, the Black Swan, or like the evil thing that's like the counterpart to the Black Swan. I don't know, something like that, basically. She runs out of there, back to the hotel, after Beth had gotten hit by a car. Presumably she threw herself into a cab because she was so jealous of having to lose a role to fucking Nina like that. Goes to see her, hands her back a lot of her shit that she took from her because Nina wanted to be perfect like Beth, so she took her nail file and some earrings, some other shit from her fucking dressing room. When she's putting it back, Beth confronts her basically about why'd you take my shit kind of thing, grabs a nail file and starts stabbing herself in the face with it kind of thing. But then she also turns into Nina. So at this point now it's like, okay, she's just seeing all this shit. She's seeing the worst of herself and others, but it's really herself doing it to her this entire time, basically. So that's when the movie really starts like sinking in, like, oh shit, this is different, this is unique, and you gotta appreciate it at this point. She's running back home, she's hearing voices, she's seeing things. Her mom's her own worst enemy. Her fucking drawings that she made of herself and Nina start coming to life and talking to her and yelling at her and shit. She's ripping them off the wall. She blacks out, presumably. This is when she starts turning in her mind into a Black Swan with the legs bending backwards and shit. This is where I got scared the movie's going to turn stupid and or like, again, big ass Black Swan literally like eating people at the fucking performance itself. Her mom locks her in a room, calls the company and says she's not going to be able to go on. She's like freaking out. She's like sick in the head. She's not going to be able to do it. She makes her way out the room. She makes it in time anyway. Sees that they've been practicing with Lily anyway. And again, she's starting to freak out. Gets in the fucking head about like, well, what the fuck am I going to do now? It's got to be me. I can do it. I can go on. The show must go on, but it's got to be me at the forefront, me at the head of it and shit, right? Steering this whole thing. She does make it right on time to be in the show, as she should be, the lead role. She gets picked up at one point by the prince, that little thing they do where they pick the girl up over the head and shit like that, right? But she starts hearing laughter. She starts seeing faces transform into other people and shit, so she freaks out and makes the guy drop her. Tomas is mad about that, obviously, because it's the actual show itself where she fell. But she is able to make it up, though. She is able to get back up and keep dancing and do a thing because the show has to go on, even if there was a big blunder like that. That was her fault because of her panicking and getting in her own head like that. So she's crying. She's distraught about having fallen during the actual performance itself. So she goes back to her dressing room, but then there's Lily inside, already there waiting for her, putting on her own makeup to come out as the Black Swan, thinking that she's ready to fucking take over since Nina's actually fucking up and probably can't continue on with the rest of this shit because she might just fall again, she might fuck up again, something like that. They start fighting, smashes Lily into the glass, a mirror right behind her, and they're still fighting, still struggling. Lily's trying to choke her, and then Nina's turned into a swan with like a white long neck. Lily gets freaked out enough for Nina to fucking grab a piece of broken glass and stabs her right through the fucking stomach, presumably killing, or at least this is the part I think where I understood the illusion's dead. Literally, it probably just gets worse from here. But then she realizes, oh shit, I think I just killed Lily. For real. And then just drags her body out, puts her into the fucking bathroom, locks her away so that nobody sees the fucking body she just stabbed up like that while freaking out about her fucking performance. Now's the part where she starts literally losing herself enough to finally be the Black Swan that's needed of her, that she needed to be all along, at the expense of potentially committing murder, where she feels free, loosey-goosey enough to go back out there and really show them what she's made of and really give them the performance of a lifetime, where she's killing as a Black Swan. She's doing a fucking thing. She's committing to the bit. But in her head, as we get to see on screen, she is transforming now finally into the Black Swan, where she's like twirling and twisting and all the shit, but then her arms are turning into fucking like wings with black feathers as a Black Swan would be. Are there Black Swans for real? I mean, listen, if I'm asking that out loud and you're probably thinking in your head, you're ready to type a comment that you must be that fucking stupid, bro. I'm asking genuinely. I don't know if there are Black Swans out there. I don't think I've ever seen one besides cartoons, something like that. Or the Ugly Duckling. Am I thinking of the Ugly Duckling? Who knows? What the fuck? But the crowd's loving it, though, as she's transforming in her head into the Black Swan. She runs out backstage, kisses Tomas, goes back to her room, but then she notices the bathroom has all this blood seeping out from underneath the door and shit. It's like, oh shit, I gotta grab a rug. I gotta fucking like, keep it concealed inside before someone comes and starts asking. But then she hears a knock at the door, and it's Lily, like in all white. As her counterpart is her being the White Swan and shit, right? Like, but dressed up like the rest of the girls are. Like, oh man, I just want to tell you fucking killed it. I mean, we had our doubts, but you fucking killed as a Black Swan right now. I don't want to interrupt you. Let me just not make you lose your focus. Just do your thing, but you're killing out there. Keep doing it. Keep at it, kind of thing. She's like, wait. Then she checks the bathroom again. There's no blood underneath the door. There's no body inside. And as she's dressing up in white to go on with the last bit of the show as the White Swan ready to kill herself because she could never find true love, then she looks down and she starts bleeding, or she's been bleeding, and she pulls out a glass shard from her stomach. So it turns out Lily was never the threat, or at least she was, but she genuinely meant to be like there for you as a support system if you need be. You can count on me in case Nina does happen to fall out or kill herself, as she's trying to do right now, killing herself for her performance. Nina was the one doing it to herself the whole time, and she didn't stab up Lily. She stabbed herself. She took some of the glasses she broke from the mirror and she stabbed herself in the fucking stomach. And she's fucking bleeding. She's leaking as she's ready to go on stage to give the last part of Swan Lake, where she's got to really seal the deal and sell the whole show and make sure people demand an encore, which she can't deliver because she's fucking bleeding and leaking for real. But so they can write reviews and tell them to go watch this girl a once-in-a-lifetime performance, literally because the girl's dying. She stabbed herself because she's freaking out so much about the fucking role itself. So she's got to go out there. It's still like a little like spot of red in her stomach, but the show must go on, of course. So she's doing it. They're carrying out the pliés and the da-da-da-da-do, whatever they got to do as a ballet artist. They're doing their thing. She's committed to the bit. She's the star of the show. She's got to finish it, though. That's what it is, right? They finally settled the part where she's taking a suicide dive. You see some red. I think you can notice it if you were there. All white, but then a little bit of red. Maybe they thought, oh man, must be that time of the month. It set in really heavy during the fucking stress of the final performance, right? But then she preps. She takes the fucking, the truss dive into the mattress set on the back of the stage to symbolize she killed herself finally. The White Swan can never go through with finding love. She falls. She hits the landing. Everybody's cheering. If they had the camera on the audience, they'd be standing in uproars. Woo, yeah. Oh, Swan Lake, that was lit, kind of thing, right? Whatever 2010 lingo they was using back when. But they cut back to her. Tomas is proud of her. Kisses on the forehead. My little princess, you fucking did it. We killed that shit. We rocked that shit. Everyone's happy around her. But then someone points out, wait a minute, what's wrong with her stomach? She's bleeding. And she literally is bleeding. She's leaking. She's got this pool of blood flowing around the fucking stomach. And he's like, wait, what did you do to yourself? What did you do to yourself? And then her last final set of words as the lights are leaving her eyes and she's fucking dying in front of everybody. She died for the fucking performance of a lifetime because she sabotaged herself. She ruined herself. She committed so much to the bit that it killed her. She says, quote, I felt it. It was perfect. It was perfect. And she's fucking done. She leaks herself to death from all the blood loss for the sake of Swan Lake. End scene, pull the curtain down on that one. What a brava, magnifique. Chef's kiss all around to everybody. The movie itself, big fat chef's kiss because, holy shit, I love this thing. Black Swan. What a watch. What an experience. And I hate to exaggerate or dramatize like, oh, what an experience. It's a fucking movie, asshole. What are you talking about? Well, I'm sorry, but it is. It's a really good movie. I really fucking enjoyed it. 15 years later, as a guy watching it for the first time on my own, no real incentive besides 15 years. I've had this on the very tail end of my watch list. Why not give it a chance instead of Die Hard or all the Lethal Weapons and shit, which I'm eventually catching up to and all that. This kind of jumped the line, and you know what? I'm glad it jumped the line. Because guess what? Fun little stuff like this. Natalie Portman legit trained 5 to 8 hours a day for over a year to get prepped and ready for the role. Goddamn, that's commitment. She had to do ballet, obviously to play a ballerina, cross training and swimming. Dropped 20 pounds. She looks it because she's fucking ripped and cut up, but at the expense of losing whatever ounce of fucking fat she might have had, even in her toes. All the fat in the toes were fucking gone for this bit in this role. She committed, even though she had a body double, but still. She got committed. She really fucking invested in herself to get into the role and prepped and ready. Another little fun fact happens to be that Mila Kunis, and this is this, as soon as I read this made sense, because it says here that Mila Kunis, I swear to God, I don't know how to fucking say it, but shout out to her, she's beautiful, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Mila Kunis apparently got casted without ever auditioning for this thing. Apparently, Darren Aronofsky, I'm probably butchering that, sorry, no disrespect. He made a masterpiece, I should know how to fucking say his name. Darren Aronofsky casted her after watching her on that 70s show and said, you know what? I forget the name of her character on the show. I want that girl to play the counterpart to Nina in this fucking thing. And it makes sense because she's really being Mila Kunis about it, or her role on the 70s show. It's pretty much here, but without, the snarky, kind of cunty comebacks and or remarks. But it's there. The energy, the vibe is there. And I'm glad it was because she was a good counterpart. She played both roles right as far as the bad girl in Nina's head, and then the good girl that just happened to look bad because she had a big bad tattoo on her back, right? And then on top of that too, I'm really glad this movie was fucking made to begin with, period. One, but two, that was made on such a small budget as far as movies are concerned. It was made for $13 million, but it made over 330 during its box office run. So it was a hit, it was a success, financially, artistically, creatively, award-ically, whatever, because, at least Natalie Portman walked away with the Best Actress Oscar as a result, and well-deserved. So, in case you're wondering, in case you're thinking, well, what the fuck has he got to say now about it as far as a final score if I had to give it one? Well, out of my rating system that's unique to me, out of a possible 69, the best possible number, the highest score you can attain according to who has been watching to my standards, of course, which are very low. But I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like. So, you know what I mean by that. But out of a possible 69, the peak, the plateau score you can get on my rating system. What am I going to give Black Swan? Well, listen, I'd be lying, I'd be dishonest. I'd be a Black Swan if I didn't give a Black Swan a 69 out of a 69. Like I said earlier to start off this thing with, I love this thing. It's automatically now in my top 10 movies of all time, if I even had 10 to count that high with. I don't know 10 like that I could really commit to be in my top 10 of all time. I got my 5, I think, was it? In no order. Godfather 1 and 2, Dumb and Dumber, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and what was the other one? Godfather 1, Godfather 2, Dumb and Dumber, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There was another one, I can't remember now. Fuck. Oh, Scarface, Scarface, right. Those are my top 5. In my top 10 now, as I pick the other 4 to flesh out those 10, Black Swan's in there. It was fucking great. I went into it thinking I'm going to see Mila Kunis be fine as fuck alongside Natalie Portman. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of the Brunette Trifecta, you got Winona Ryder there too. No, I walked away loving this movie. I walked away with a good feeling, warm feeling in my stomach, despite, Nina had to stab herself to give the performance of a lifetime, but you know what I mean. I love this thing, start to finish. You don't feel a drag. It plays out, it fleshes out very well. Every little twist and turn it takes makes sense. you don't expect it, which is great, They take a very simplistic story, which probably lives IRL in the minds of like the ballet dancers committed to like wanting to have a career and live out their wildest fantasies, like a starring role in Swan Lake at Lincoln Center and shit, and really turn into something that can like relate to on so many levels as far as what you want, what dream you want to live out, but how far you're willing to go for it, and how much you're willing to commit to it so much you might sabotage yourself in the end. A la Nina. I love it. It's great. Highly recommend. Yeah, there's nothing bad I could really say about this movie, to be totally honest. I swear to God I'm straight, by the way, too, if that helps at all. But just in case, I gotta throw that out there. And I'm going to throw it out there just like I'm going to throw it back to you. Your responsibility. If you so choose to carry this task out, please, I humbly request that you like, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you got to do with it, on the YouTube, on the social media platforms. It's all the same tag, at Who This Is One. That's me, yours truly, Who This, with Who This been watching, and I've been watching some shit, and this time it's been some glorious shit, as in Black Swan from 2010, 15th year anniversary for Black Swan. Natalie Portman, Mila Kunis, Winona Ryder. Very short and sweet presence, but she's there. She's, intermingling and shit. But any normal straight guy that appreciates brunettes, that being sensitive enough with the naming those three in one film, but I swear to God, lock in. You're in for a very pleasant surprise as far as films are concerned. Love Black Swan, in my top 10 of all time right now officially. Appreciate y'all. Catch you next time. Da-da-da-da-da-da. The show is concluded.
I saw this coming, and my God, I jumped on it with both hands and been holding on. My ass! My ass!
When I think of asses, woman's ass, something comes out of me.
I don't eat ice, I kick ice! You stupid ice!
Why don't you shut up, you ass?
You cannot give up yet. You did not let me or my fat ass down, okay?
Yo, it's over. All right, it's over. It's over. Move the mic. Move the mic.
Thank you.
All right.